Leah Steele.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm hanging in there. I
Awesome.
got bit yesterday by this mystery bug in Bali that bites me from time to time. And so I have a swollen section like this big on my back.
Mm-hmm.
My brain is a bit cloudy because I've been taking massive amounts of antihistamine, so I don't have to go to the hospital, which I may end up having to go anyway. But all the things, of course, happen this week, right?
All the things. All the things. Well, good on you for getting the pre-launch out there. I saw you doing that before. That's awesome. So, yeah, thanks for being here. And thanks, Zoe. Love your headwear. That's awesome. And Sean, welcome. And Joanne, welcome. We might just wait a moment or two for people to come on. Guys, this is the session on what's next. It's Sean's birthday. Oh, that's amazing. Let's all send Sean some love. Let's come off mute and we'll send him a whoa yes. Let's send Sean some love.
Happy birthday.
Whoa,
Happy birthday.
yes. Happy birthday, man.
Happy birthday.
What a day to have a day.
Thanks, everybody.
Awesome. So, guys, in this session, what I'm going to lead you through is the what's next, okay? We're going to have a number of different aspects to it. The first of all, we're going to look at reacquaint ourselves with your vision for your book to get that picture clear again of where are you going, okay? Because you've come so far this week and we want to keep the progress forward aligned with that journey. So we'll do that first. Welcome to Lee. Welcome. And welcome, Lynette. And then we're going to look at what does publish and launch mean, okay? So how does that work? Awesome. Alrighty, guys. So first of all, I'd love you to just, if you've got a pen and paper or even just in your mind, I'd just love to get you to ask yourself the question, why did I start out on this journey? When I said yes to writing a book and I could see it done, see it in my hands, what was it that you wanted? Was it authority? Was it credibility, positioning? Was it a tool that gives you, the golden handshake into speaking gigs? Was it something to help you market your business to bring in new opportunities? Was it something that was very personally meaningful for you? And I'd love you to just put those in the chat so that we can get a bit of a flavor of what it was for you. Because everyone will have a slightly different mix. Some will be, this is definitely a business thing. Some will be, this is more personal. Some it's both. Okay. So we'll just wait for a few comments to come in. We might have a chat to you, Leah, just while you're typing in, just to voice what it was for you. Like what is this book for you? What's the vision for it?
Okay, yeah. So my purpose for me with the book was to really lock in for me that I am an expert in this field of wealth consciousness work. There was definitely a self-validation piece for me there. Kind of ultimately getting rid of that doubt, fear monster. Reach was really important. I wanted to expand my reach.
Yes.
Wanted it to put me on the map. I want expansion beyond just social media, where I have a great following. So it was expansion beyond that. And then global recognition in a different field. So like to me, an author or a book feels very legitimate, where I think social media sometimes is still perceived as, it's like, oh yeah, she's known on social media, right? So legitimacy. And then for the world, the reason that I'm doing the book for the world is I want to deconstruct financial slavery consciousness. And I want people to know that they have the ability to be the financial alchemists of that everybody has the ability to be a financial alchemist, and that they get to decide what their financial future is going to be like.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And I think it's useful. We might just go to Lee Rourke now. I just want to get a couple of perspectives so people can see that there's a whole like spectrum and range of reasons why people would want to publish and launch their book. And it can be everything from, getting in Time magazine to, one of our first book writers was writing it for a mentor who'd been in her life for 25 years. And the book was a dedication to this mentor. So, Lee, I'd love to just hear from you, especially this is your second book. What's kind of your vision? What's your motivation behind moving this book forward?
It is quite different. The first one is about all that credibility piece and the hefty business card and and the getting out all of the stuff that was in the basic tools I wanted for my clients. So I could just say, here, read the book. Mm-hmm. This one feels more like once I wrote one book, it's like I am a writer. Mm-hmm. So if this book feels like an extension of just what I do. So I really see myself as having 7 or 8 books, but it's a companion book for the first one. And again, it's essential information for the world. And there is a level of a marketing piece in that. It's another layer of, like, I'm not very vocal about what I know, as vocal as I could be. Mm. I see a lot of people make a lot more noise than me, and I feel like the book has a spirit. So this book, it wants to be written, but it has I feel like it's just going to keep doing work in the world. Mm-hmm. And, it's just going to keep working. It's going to it'll definitely open doors, but it's not about me. Books, like whatever I create, isn't about me, except for the fact that the publishing thing is the thing that I didn't do before I wrote my first book. There's something amazing about having the book in your hands.
Yeah. This is Lee. Yours is here, Lee.
Yeah, it's right here. Yeah.
That's Lee's first book.
And I've got there's just something amazing about that. Mm. That
I think
it's not a social media post. It's not temporary. It's a real bloody thing. And once I'd done that once, I was like, I want more of that. I want more of people picking up something with my bloody name on it. So there is ego in it. There is spirit in it. But sometimes I open my book and I go, gee, good shit, Lee.
I love that you've
created a temporary moment, and then the moment's passed, but when you put it in the published, then it's not disappeared.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how powerful that is.
Yeah. There's so much power in the publishing.
Like, these guys have never published before and not going to get it till they've got this in their hand. And I had a client come to me the other day who started by reading my book before she came to me. Mm-hmm. She was literally holding the book like this and just going, oh, I love this book. I feel like, the teacher that's for me has appeared at the right time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What connected her to me in that deep level before we even started? Mm-hmm. 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 So I want more of that, because this is about life purpose. So this is for me, it's a farm meeting.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Lee. I'm hearing that it's very much, and to everyone just jumping on, welcome to Zephyria and Emperor Nasser and Shirley and Sophia and Tessa and Jackie. Guys, what we're just looking at is reacquainting ourselves with your vision for your book. Like, why did you set out on this journey? What were your hopes and dreams for the book out in the world, whether they're professional or personal, and what mix that was? And we're just hearing from a few people. And I love that share, Lee, because it's so underestimated. Here's the thing, guys. It would be so easy to just leave it where it is right now.
It even just an ebook or a downloadable or no. Even if you only get 5 copies printed for yourself, get it printed.
Yep.
Here it is.
Yep. Exactly. I'd love to hear from Zephyria, perhaps. What's this book for you? How do you see this? What's the vision for it out in the world?
Mm-hmm. As soon as you ask that, I just feel tears well up. Like this, it's interesting. So I don't feel like the book is for me. I feel like the book is something that I needed to bring through for the Blue Diamond Souls that they've been asking me to do. So it just feels like it's in full service of that. But then once the book is out, my vision then is that it brings more people into my field to be able to support them in activating their womb and in conceiving.
Mm-hmm.
So it will end up bringing people into my sphere as clients, but it's not the purpose of the book.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely, you know, I've got a conscious conception course that's starting probably just after it, you know, we go to launch with it, and there are things that'll fit together. But to me, it's like just this higher soul calling, almost like there just isn't any choice but to write this book and put it out.
Yep. Love that you said that. And the thing that I want to reflect back is that, guys, you know, so many like you can publish with us, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. You can publish with someone else and they just purely focus on the marketing and miss the soul bit. And the way I see it is that if there's a soul calling that this needs to go out into the work, that this needs to go out into the world, that's got to be the starting point. Because otherwise, how are you taking inspired action? And so if you're there going, oh, but I don't really quite have business objectives for this, or I'm not quite clear on what those business objectives might be, but you do have a soul calling that's like, this has got to go out. This has got to be out there. And then I need to be open to the magic of how it unfolds. Then trust that and follow that. And the business happens almost incidentally. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I really love that share, Zephyria. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that?
There's obviously something there, because I can feel again, like this like wave of tears that wants to come through, but I don't know what it is, other than maybe I'm just proud of the fact that I'm actually doing my soul's calling.
Yeah. How good is that? How good is that?
That feels like it.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Guys, let's send Zephyria a well, yes, with lots of love and support for that. Yeah. Oh, yes. That's awesome.
Thank you.
We might have a chat to Jackie. Jackie, what does this book mean for you and the vision for it moving forward?
I'm a little bit like Sophia with that. It's time for me first to step in my power and completely own what it is that I can do for other people. So I'm owning it first. And then this book is that way of getting that message out to let people know that they're not alone on this journey, and that this is one of the biggest reasons why I've come here, to be on earth at this moment in time, to help others understand that there is more to life than diets and having to be a certain body shape. So that whole the word soul calling is coming up, but I'm just not wanting to come onto other people's energy. It's so important for me to let people know they're not alone, because this is a bloody tough journey, especially after weight loss surgery. And even during this week, because I forget to eat, which is one of the side effects of this surgery, can be that you forget to eat. And when you become exhausted after having this surgery, what happens is you just collapse. There is no trying to stay awake any longer. There is no option. You have to give into that. And a lot of people don't understand that. There's so much misconception. So for me to get this book out there, one, it's me stepping completely into who I am and my power. And two, and through doing that and through owning it myself, I let other people know it's safe to own their journey.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
And it ended up being 2 books now, Dave.
Yeah, right. Wow. Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, the can-do bariatric surgery is there, and I kept feeling like there was this missing piece. So I just went to sleep, and I woke up, and the missing piece is everybody else that hasn't had bariatric surgery, because I can still tailor it to them.
Mm-hmm.
And the aeroplane book came up, like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to be able to sit and read the book on the plane. And then I sat back and I went, yes, that's it. Like, why diets don't work.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And it's so short, it's straight to the point. And I went, oh, now it's all complete.
Mm-hmm.
The two are to come out together.
Beautiful. And that's what happens, guys, is when you get it out into the world, there's then space for the next. And it might be the next book, or it might be the next program, it might be the next insight, but it's definitely the next hero's journey. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we don't want to be constipated holding on to anything. Really, really let it fly. So thanks for sharing, Jackie. We might just have one more share, and then we'll keep rolling on with this session. Sean, would you like to have a share about the vision for this book, like why it's important to you and what you see for it?
Sure, buddy. Yeah, for me, and I wrote it in the comments, there's this piece that I feel like will leave a legacy for my kids. There's certain things that my kids, well, I have 22, 14, and 5. So they're all different ages. And even the 22-year-old, he can understand certain things, but he'll understand things that I see better when he's 40 than he does right now. So there's definitely that legacy for my 3 sons. I want them to know sort of how my brain ticked.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the base.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's been this vision. I've had this vision of, speaking on stages in front of large audiences, or having more relevance in the world where, I can weigh in on things that seem important to me. And the book feels like it adds credibility and weight to my viewpoint. And so that's the secondary piece,
Absolutely.
And there's underneath that, of course, there's both a selfish, that soothing the wound that I'm not enough. There's that always underlying everything I do pretty much. And then there's the, adding value to the world and adding value to,
Mm-hmm.
To the recipe that we're all a part of this big stew, so.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Both sides.
It's definitely, guys, I mean, rightly or wrongly, like, the book is a credibility piece that gets you on stages. Some stages won't have you on the stage unless you have a book. It also gets you on podcast stages.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to share your message on other people's podcasts, it's the best way to do that. One amazing way to do that is a podcast tour. And you just get on and you jam out with someone wherever they are in the world for half an hour, or 2 hours on your topic. It's really, like, when I say golden handshake, that's not just marketing speak. That is actually, like, it's like this lubricant that slides opening doors for you. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for sharing, my man. Guys, what I'll move on to now is, look, here's the thing. You can go and self-publish this. That's not what this session is about. You can go and publish with someone else. Sure, you can do that. Or you can leave it where it is. But I'm pretty sure that no one is going to be taking that option of just leaving it in the drawer or leaving it on the hard drive. What I want to share with you today is how we at Inspirational Book Writers do the publish and launch section. Okay. It's a whole program, and it's the next step. Like, you thought, this writing week was an initiation. Well, there's an initiation in publishing. There's an initiation in launching. Each step requires a different flavor of journey. And so if it's okay with you guys, I'm going to go into it now and I'm going to share with you what that looks like. Okay. So let's have a look. All right. Publish and launch. It's super simple. It does what it says on the can. Okay. We help you publish the book. We help you launch the book. So what does that actually mean? Well, in publish, it means helping you to produce a high quality book that you can be really proud of, that does justice to the work that you've created this week, and that puts you out in the market as someone of note, of someone of like, it's like, I've got something to say. Okay. You wouldn't necessarily go on 1,000-person stage, you know, in a dress down. Okay. So publishing is about helping you to create a high quality book you can be proud of. And the launching side of things, that's about reach, expanding your reach, not only getting it into markets or connections or networks that you currently have, but also expanding that and amplifying your visibility so that when it goes to launch, there's like this, we've spoken about it, this lighthouse that turns on and shines. And the end result of that is, well, one, you can tailor it for what your specific goals are, right? So you want to get on podcasts, you can tailor a launch that way. You want to get speaking gigs, you can tailor it that way. There's all these little strategies here and there that we can implement for that. But the biggest credibility piece is getting you to Amazon bestseller in multiple categories. And if you do it right, getting you there in multiple markets. Okay. What that means is that you would become an international Amazon bestseller. And that's very, very possible. We've had we've really only introduced the international piece in the last 12 months, but in the last 12 months, we've had how many have we had, Davina? We've had like nearly a half a dozen, I think. We've had 4 or 5 go Amazon bestseller in multiple regions. I can see Jackie Grant nodding. We did this process for Jackie for, I think it was her book before last. And within 3 weeks of launching, she had a front page feature of Women's Day magazine. So, you know, that's the kind of reach you can get. And we've had a lot of people that, in fact, get that reach like during the publishing. They haven't even started launching, but they're still publishing. They're still like going through the edit and all of that. And they get that reach. Jackie's also said that Jackie got her book, that one that we launched for her, into Dymocks bookstores. So that's pretty awesome. And Davina's just reminding me of Stacey Ashley, who's also in this group, but not on the call. Her book getting into Target.com in the USA. Like there's a whole heap of things in terms of distribution and like global reach that we look at in the launch part. So that's kind of by way of overview. Publish and launch. We like to keep it really simple here. It does what it says on the tin. We'll help you publish it. We'll help you launch it. So what does that look like if we get even more specific? So let me go through that. So everyone's written a book this week, and I know there might be some of you that just would really love to just have an extra set of eyes on it before it starts publishing. Okay, just an extra set to go, yep, it's got all the pieces, or maybe this needs to go in. So the first step, and this is something we do with all of our book retreat clients who, you know, invest 12, 15K to come to the island with us for the week, is we do what's called a read, review, and give me feedback session. That's where you send in your entire manuscript. I read it, review it, and give you feedback. Again, I love keeping things just super simple. It does what it says on the can. We read it, we review it, we give you feedback so that it's ready to go into publishing. So that's the first thing. Okay. So if anyone's still in the refining process or is still just like trying to get it to that final piece ready, you know, if there's any sort of thing coming up going, oh, is it ready for publishing? Just know that that's the safety catch. Okay. That's the safety catch, because I'm not going to put it through until I'm satisfied with where it's at and I know the journey ahead. So just know you've got that. Then we do everything that you need to get published. So what does that look like? I'll go through the list quickly and then I'll go through each one. You get a copy edit for up to 40,000 words. Okay. We do the interior formatting. That's turning it into a book. We do professional cover designs in all the different formats that are required. Like, a cover isn't quite as simple as you think. There's a lot of thought that goes into a cover, and making sure the right words and the right colors and all these sorts of things pop. Yes, you can go to Fiverr and pay $5, $5 for a cover. I have never seen a good cover come from a $5 investment. It is something that I really highly recommend that you invest in, is a quality cover design that really represents your work. And our aim with those covers is that the cover, the words, the imagery is in alignment with the energy of what's in the interior. Okay, there's nothing worse than getting a book, seeing some like cover, expecting it to be something, opening it up and then going, this is like completely different to the energy of the cover. So we're very much about alignment in between the cover and the interior. So that's one thing to know. We also take care of the Amazon distribution. So all that kind of technical back-end stuff, the ISBNs, the tax info. If you're an Australian and you don't want to be paying extra tax to Uncle Sam in the USA and the IRS on your book sales from Amazon, we've found the hack. It's taken care of. All that sort of stuff is done. We do ebook versions and print versions. I think both are important. Both are important. Ebooks are just going through ebook sales are amazing. And like Lee said, there's nothing like just having it in your hands, having it to be able to give to people. So we do both of that. The idea, guys, and Stacey Ashley went through our process last year. She's in this group, but not with us today. She said to think about publishing like it's a service counter. You submit your work, our team does its stuff. A couple of days later, it pops back out with instructions for your feedback. Okay, so it's done for you, but also done with you. Okay, done in consultation. Jackie says it's so easy and it flows. Jackie's been through our process. So yeah, the aim of the game is with publishing is we want to do the publishing with a minimum of pain and a maximum of grace and ease. That's really our philosophy. And Jackie, I might just get you off mute just for a second, just to share with everyone what your experience of the publishing was like.
So it took a lot of the stress and worry from me. I had my graphic artist do the cover, which was oddly enough, that was actually more of a problem than giving the work to you and your team. So to be able to hand it over and say, here you go, I have no clue on how to get the Kindle version to be there. The ebook was sort of, everybody knows how to create an ebook, but not properly.
Yeah.
And I just found the communication was always spot on. The team was always there. If I had a question, there was never a stupid or dumb question, and I could ask the same question multiple times to make sure I was happy. When I read through and gave it back again, so when we went through that other pass through and was able to say, look, I've noticed this font here isn't quite in match. Just like that, it was fixed and back to me, and then to finally go, yes. And it's like handing over your baby to someone else. But you get it back all nicely wrapped up and well fed and well nurtured and all ready for the cuddles. And then when the exciting time comes of you've ordered your book and you open up, and that video, I think that between your page and my page, we'd still be able to find that video of when I opened up the book and held them in my hands for the first time was an incredible moment. And then the support, I know we're stepping into launch a little bit, but just that knowing that when it was coming to the launch, I didn't have anything to worry about. And the professionalism is incredible. So that was my experience. So easy. And I knew that my little baby that I'd worked so hard to birth was well taken care of.
Beautiful. Thank you, Jackie. That's awesome. Really appreciate that. Lee Rourke, I might just get you to are you there to just say a word on your experience of when you got sold truth through the process? You're on, I think we've...
Oh, sorry.
There we go.
I spoke to you about this in terms of, I guess what I noticed was that it's so well engineered. And I said to you, are you a mechanic profile? And then you shared with me that you were, and you also had your dad giving you back as an engineer, because it's like this, and then you complete that, and then you go to that, and you complete that, you go to that, you complete that, and you go to that. And that process is, it's like you're on the train, and you don't actually have to worry about where the train's going. You just go to the next station and you stop there, and you might have to tidy up and do your feedback, read it over, and then it goes back. So there's just a smooth process, which I really, really appreciated and needed, because when you said to me it's going to be, I don't want to deal with all that detail, like how do you get it in formatting for Kindle, and how do you upload it to Kindle, and how do you add an ISBN, and
yeah.
Like that's yuck for me. So just to have you take care of what I don't need to know, and then when I needed input, so it wasn't, then I gave input. I think it's a nice balance.
Yeah.
You know, there was still some work for me involved. There is still some work in the editing and checking the formatting and feedback to the graphic designer, and, you know, and then she'll adjust it to your feedback. So there's still tasks for me to tick, but it was so clear what I had to do, and I was just catching the train.
Beautiful. Well said, Lee. Thank you for sharing. Guys, it really has been engineered as a train. And that's the language I use, is the train is leaving, just jump on and you're going to get to...
I didn't know that.
What's that?
I didn't know you use that imagery.
No, I've just started using it. It really works.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really works. But thank you for sharing, Lee. That's super, super awesome. And guys, just a couple of other things to say to you. So number one, the creative control is yours. So if you come to us and say, this is unlike if you went with a traditional publisher, one of the big behemoths, for example, they're going to red pen the edit. They're going to say, you can't say that, you can't say this, that's not proper English. And it just really slows up the process. And if you've got a creative spirit, or if your soul is telling you to say it a particular way, that's basically why I started this business. Because when I first wrote my first book, there was no way I wanted a traditional publisher or someone to come in and say, no, you can't say that, Mr. Thompson. I was like, well, you know what I'm about to say. So full creative control is yours. The copyright is yours. You can change it. I mean, there's no, like we don't have ownership over your book. You retain the copyright, you retain the ownership, you retain the creative control. What you do get to be part of, though, is the Spiritcast network of books, which is this little symbol here. That's our publishing imprint, and that's the official publishing imprint of Inspirational Book Writers. So every book that goes through Inspirational Book Writers gets this one. And so it's a symbol of credibility and authority that you're with a network of people all around the world who are sharing their message. So just wanted to drop those things in there.
Yeah, because some people out there are presenting themselves as self-publishers, but they take a % of every book. So that's not self-publishing, Hay House included.
Yeah.
So, that's where you just got to watch out for those subjects.
Yeah. So on and thanks for bringing that up, Lee. So on royalties, guys, 100% is yours. We receive your bank information, we upload it to Amazon, and then the money goes straight to you. There's no, it doesn't come through our account. It doesn't go to us. It's directly to you. 100% of what Amazon or the different platforms, it goes to you. Joanne, you had a question or something to share?
Yeah, so just wanted to say to everybody here, obviously this is my first experience with you, Dave, but what I'm hearing here is a lot of support. My first book was, actually I've got them here, first book was self-published. I have sold a shitload of that. Then the second book was actually an ebook that I was contacted from Hay House. and they wanted to turn into a physical book. It was going really well as an ebook, and promised the world it was a $50,000 investment, and nothing really. I did. I was at Hay House I Can Do It in Toronto and Denver, but they're a company that sadly promises the world and doesn't really deliver. So it's so lovely to be here, to obviously have the support of everybody, but also what you're doing here, what you're offering is absolutely fantastic.
Thank you. And it's not the first time I've heard that about Hay House or about Balboa. And I often speak to people who call me and they go, Dave, I'm wanting to go with Hay House because it's got the big name and all of this. And I just hear them and I just go, yeah. Either one, you'll be back and you'll be speaking to me, or two, your book's going to sit there and do nothing and be not make an impact on the world at all.
Yeah, it's been an interesting journey, and I have put my hand up with others for a class action. But amazing. It's absolutely crazy how they operate and what they do, sadly.
And just another thing on that, guys, and thank you for sharing that, Joanne. It's really useful. If you launch, well, not even if, when you launch your book with us and it goes out to the world, let's say it gets picked up by some big publisher, right? Whether it's Hay House or someone else, and they actually, because your star has risen so much, they actually come to you and offer you money for a publishing deal, which, by the way, will only happen if you've got an absolute fuck ton of followers and subscribers and your profile is enormous. And, incidentally, this book that you're doing now can lift you into that stratosphere where you start to get that sort of interest. When that happens for you, there's nothing in our contract that stops you from doing that. We had a guy who was a leadership IT consultant. He wrote his book with us. He started the publishing process. He was almost through to completion. And then Wiley Business Print, the imprint of Wiley, picked him up. And he's like, Dave, I've been given this opportunity. They're offering me 50 grand. I'm going for it. And there's nothing in our contract that stops that. We send him on his way with our blessings. This is not about being precious about, oh, this is our book and that's your book and yada, yada. This is about getting messages out to the world, to the people that need them. He had an opportunity to do this, and that's just the way it went. So I just want you to know there's community here, there's support here, there's authority and credibility here, and there is the freedom to go even bigger, as much as your star can shine. So, thank you to all the comments coming in. A lot of people saying, yeah, that's beautiful to hear. They love it. Yes. We've very much created a process that it is like a train, but also has that freedom and expansion built in, that honors your natural voice, that honors the individual that you are, and really amplifies that shine. Cool. So, that's what you get in the publishing. It's an edit, a format, covers, Amazon distribution, ebook and print, the ISBNs, the tax info, all that back end stuff taken care of. You also get 5 proof copies. Okay, so I'll just quickly speak to that, then we'll go into launch. The 5 proof copies. The reason we do proofs is because, yes, this is a fast process, and we also want to ensure quality. Okay, so we do 5 proofs because you don't want to go and print 1,000 and then realize that you forgot to make an acknowledgement to, Auntie Sally for her contribution to your life. Okay, or that there's one full stop out of place. So we do 5 proof copies sent to your house. You get them, you check it over, because that's the thing, guys. The eye picks up different things at every step of the journey. When you're looking at the Word document, you'll pick up certain things. When it goes to the formatting stage and it gets turned into a book and it's formatted so it looks like a book, the eye picks up different things again. And then when you get it in physical format, the eye picks up things again. Okay, so that's why we have those 3 checkpoints. It's fast, but it's thorough. So I just want to impress that upon you. And for each of the steps, we have there's full instructions. You get the email, a short snippet video saying, this is how you're at this stage. Congratulations. This is how we suggest you approach your feedback. Many of the stages have a personal voice note from me where I've actually looked at the work that's come back from our team and going like, hey, Joanne, so it looks awesome. Just check page 39 for X. I'd love your opinion on that. What do you think? So it's very guided in that way. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Let's keep rolling. So we'll go into the launch chat conversation now. Okay. Now, here's the thing with launches is I really think the launch is all about it's an opportunity for you to showcase your work to the world, and for a moment in time, whether it be an evening or a weekend or a week, or some people do it even longer, but for a period of time, for you to be that shining lighthouse light where it's literally like, look at me, not in an ego way, but in a, my light is here. My light is shining. And so the purpose of that is not like, it's not for you to, I just really want to say it's not about ego. It's about getting the message. And this is the thing. When I started this, I just knew there was great people out there with great ideas, and I wanted to help great people get those great ideas into the hands of the people that need them most. Okay. For each of you, that will be different. There'll be different groups, different communities, different networks. And so what happens in the launch plan is we actually teach you a 4-step launch process. You'll notice how everything's kind of just laid out, right? The launch is in 4 steps. And each step has particular projects, so launch projects. And you just follow as many projects as you want. You follow the 4 steps, you launch the book, and I can almost guarantee that you will all go to Amazon bestseller. We've seen people that have next to no social media following get to Amazon bestseller because of the way we optimize the page. There's a whole stack of Amazon accolades that you can shoot for, multiple categories, the hot new release list, the mover and shakers list, the non-fiction, the number one non-fiction book, the number one selling product. So it's interesting. I've got some of you will know Dane Thomas's book, Clear Your Shit, founder of The Spiral. This was the number one product on all of Amazon Australia. Like there's a lot of products on Amazon Australia. Not all of them are books. This was the number one product, ahead of New York Times bestsellers, ahead of, all manner of erotica, murder mystery, everything. And the reason why that happened is because he followed the 4-step sequence and utilized his network to make that happen. So regardless of the size of your network or what you've got, whether it's more online or offline, we just launched, Davina, didn't we? The In the Moment Coaching for Leaders book in November, a couple of leadership coaches down in Canberra. They mostly had in-person networks. Like they weren't actually all that techie, in terms of getting their online sorted. But we were able to give them, this strategy applies either way. Okay. And Lee's just put in a good comment here. We can use this group to make it happen and everyone support each other. Absolutely. Because that's the idea, is that when, that's one of the strategies that we teach is we call it activating your sneezes. Okay. So think about it. If I sneeze, my sneeze is going to, it's a bit gross, but just run with me. It's going to go a certain distance. Okay. But if I enroll all of you good people and to sneeze for me, and we all turn our backs to each other in a circle and we sneeze out, the coverage of the sneeze is far in excess of what I was capable of by myself. And so there's a whole strategy around that. And that's one of the pieces. So really, in summary, the launch piece is about teaching you the strategy, getting you to Amazon bestseller so you've got the credibility, international bestseller if you want as well, expanding your reach, amplifying your visibility, and and here's the thing, okay? It's about actually using the credibility from Amazon to bounce you into something else, okay? So This book here, Courage is Her Middle Name by Heidi Denning. She did her Amazon launch from her house on a Sunday night, got it to Amazon bestseller. That then got picked up by the press. Next thing you know, she's being featured in the Sydney Morning Herald, which is a big newspaper in New South Wales. She's invited to speak at International Women's Day in Sydney, be a guest of honour at the New South Wales Premier's Women in Business event. Like, these are the sort of things, everything bounces you into the next piece, if that makes sense. And all you've got to do is just stay on the train and do the thing at the step to bounce you into the next piece. So, yeah, that's that. Jackie, do you want to talk about what happened with Women's Day and how the launch bounced you into that? Because that was quite phenomenal.
Yeah. So the book is Break Free and Go For It. It was my second book that I had written and put out there. The first book was Break Free, that I sold 4,000 copies self-publishing. So for this one, I really wanted to level it up and go with Dave. We got together, I got on the train, I followed the train, got off at all the stops and got back on and did all the work. And then I'm like, oh, I'm loving this momentum, Amazon bestseller list, lots of communication, lots of support. And so I thought, right, I'm going to write to the media, because my story about letting go of weight is so important, it can help others. Wrote to Women's Day on a Sunday night. Monday morning, went into hospital, had a minor procedure, got out of anaesthetic, checked my phone, and here's an email from Women's Day saying, we want to interview you. We want the books. Like, we want to know, we can't believe that you've actually got a bestseller list, that you've let go of 105 kilos. We want to share your story. They already actually had their layout for that edition. So within 24 hours of writing to them, sharing I had an Amazon bestseller list, giving them the links, giving them a short story, I'm on the front cover within 2 weeks, double page spread, which so someone else's story got bumped for mine. And then from there, I actually ended up with more book sales, and I had 20 client inquiries. Now, the one thing I will give everybody a tip on is, when you do this, when you go live with all of this, be ready for that fourth step, like so many distances away, because I was not ready to manage those 20 clients, and that slowed me down. So what I'm saying is that when you go along on this train and you get noticed by Women's Day or whomever, be prepared for everything else to keep coming into you. Really have that ready before the launch. That's one of the biggest tips if I'm going to give you a tip, that would be what it would be. Because you don't know. You do not know where it's going to go.
Beautifully shared, Jackie. Thank you for sharing that. And guys, my perspective, I think that's a really good share. And here's the thing is, you may not know what's going to come back to you from the launch. And like even Dane Thomas, when he launched this one, he did not know what was coming his way, but he was able to create it after the launch. And the feedback that he got from this was people going, oh, I want this training course from you. And so he created the training course, and then ended up doing 100K in business in 2 weeks following that book launch. And that's the case study on our website. So you don't necessarily definitely need to know what you're going to launch. We help you with that. That's part of the coaching, is like starting to forward think, where could this possibly take me? What could possibly come my way from this? And what would I need to do to get ready for it? So yeah, thank you for that share, Jackie. So guys, I'll go through, like, what does the launch component actually look like? Just in simple meat and potatoes, what do you get? So the first one is that we actually, from Sunday afternoon, we are actually going to start a Facebook group with everyone that's joining us for Publish and Launch. So this community continues, this community connection, and we'll be all going on the train ride together. Some will be at, slightly different carriages, and that's fine. But we work everyone through. So the first thing is the container. The new container starts with the Facebook group. Then what do we actually do in that container? Well, There's that 4-step launch sequence that I mentioned, the bestseller book launch strategy session. We do that as a group. Then the mini book launch projects that I spoke about, there's projects within each of those 4 steps. We are actually going to be doing live trainings on each of those book launch projects. So that means things like live trainings on activating the sneezes, on setting up pre-launch content to enroll people in the journey of the book launch. That includes things like getting your email list set up, a VIP list if you want to. And the idea with the launch projects is that if you've got the space, do all of them. Like do every strategy you've got. And if you don't have the space, then do what you can. And this really landed for me when we launched Davina's first book, Resilient as Fuck, in the late 2018. Is I laid out all the launch projects to Davina, and she goes, look, I've got a lot going on in my life. I'm going to pick 4 of them. And she picked 4, and she launched a book, and it was a huge success. And that 1 hour live video is still popping up here and there, Davina, even all this time on. So there's a load of support. There's a load of live calls. The other thing that we do is we have a book launch success resources kit. So this is a Dropbox folder of all these like little pieces of snippets of guidance that will really help you. You want a launch sequence to plug straight into your email responder system to get your message out to your subscriber list? We have that. You want to know how to ask people for reviews, how to ask people to be sneezers. All of that is there. Joanne says, all this guidance and support is awesome. Thank you so much, Joanne. Yeah, there's been a lot of thought put into this. Basically, everything you could think of, we have thought about it. And our approach is if there's something we haven't thought about that you need, we just make it. You know, we make the resource. We go out and find it. We make the video. We make the training, whatever it is. The other thing that's super, super cool, and I never plugged this hard enough, Davina, but Davina's been on me to really speak about this, is the launch night support. So when you launch your book, we're actually there in the background for technical, moral, and strategic support, okay? Maybe we might just get Lee Rourke on. Can you just speak about this, Lee? You probably do a better job than me. We've got you. It's still on mute, Lee. There we go. We got you.
Not wanting to hear myself. I'll be honest. I didn't really optimize all the projects you can do to maximize my launch of my book. I wanted to hit the bestseller, and I told Dave I was going to do the bare minimum of marketing to get there. And so I did the bare minimum and I got bestseller. And Dave, I didn't even realize when I signed up to the program, Dave, that Dave was sitting behind the whole thing and just watching the numbers come in and supporting me the whole way. It was like midnight and I was sitting in my spa and he's messaged me that I've made number in all categories. You know, he sat there bloody all evening in the background. He shared with me, like we did a live together, a launch live, and which was brilliant because I found that he asking me questions because he already knew my book. And just, yeah, that support was really, really epic, and I didn't even realize it was going to be there. So, you know, and Davina as well, she was totally there, and the people who'd done the retreat with me, well, most of them anyway, were also supportive in sharing my launch. And so, yeah, and that's why I said, look, if every single one of us, you know, shared what felt aligned to,
yeah,
then you're pretty much going to have a bestseller automatically.
I think,
So, you know, I don't have the biggest of networks. I've got an average network, and I got to number 1, no worries, and extra categories, and yeah, it was a pretty huge moment. And you know, I kind of was like, part of me was like, oh, well, this is just, I'm not number 1 for long, and anyone could get to number 1, but really seriously.
You were there for 3 or 4 days, Lee.
Yeah, 3 or 4 days, and it just bloody felt great to be there. And it is a game. It's sticking it on the book. I'm like, sorry, that's not a very good marketing pitch for you. It's a bloody game, you know. To put bestseller on the book, it's the social proof. And I hate playing the game, but sometimes you've just got to play the game. And the launch night and the launch strategy and having them supporting me that when that isn't, that sort of shit is not my juice, was just, I don't think I would have done it otherwise. I would have just done the softest launch in history.
Yeah, thanks.
I would still not know I had a book. You know, like, honestly, because I was so just, it took me a while to really claim the pride in my book, and that process helped me do that. So I'm really grateful for that. I'll never forget that moment sitting in their spa and getting I came in front of fucking Eckhart Tolle, the para now, and I just went, oh my word. And I am like, I'm just fucking, you know, a mentor of mine and someone I deeply respect. And I'm not putting my book in the same category, don't get me wrong, but it was so fun to see myself in front of that. It just shifted my reality.
That's awesome, Lee. Thank you so much for sharing. And yes, it is somewhat of a game when you line up the strategy and it goes to the top. My thinking behind that is it's actually like putting bestseller on the book. Is that a good thing for getting the message out more to the world? Is someone more likely to read it because it's got that on the cover? Is it more likely to be picked up by a magazine, like what Jackie said, if it's got that? Yes, like Heidi with this one, because of her Amazon status, that's what got her into the Sydney Morning Herald. That's what got her into the speaking at International Women's Day. So there's, you know, again, it's another, like you'll notice this is just a series of doors. You stay on the train, you open the door, you go to there. And then you stay on the train, you open the door and you go to there. And as far, you can take it as far as you want to go. So thanks for sharing that, Lee. And guys, the final final thing I want to share with you about what you get in the publishing is all the Amazon page optimization, all the stuff that, you know, there's a lot of little techie stuff in the background, things like optimizing you in categories, keywords. Really, categories is the big one. You know, if you don't get the categories right, you end up in a sea of 7 million, you know, there's 7 million titles on Amazon in Australia. There's way more in the US. You just end up in a sea of books and you don't really get noticed. So our strategy with the Amazon page optimization is to position you in the categories, in the places where people are going to be looking for your message. And so they can then find that. That's really our approach. Zoe says, do we get to write the copy that goes on Amazon? You can. That part of this as well that we haven't mentioned, guys, is part of the publishing. When we actually do the cover design session, is writing the back cover copy. So writing the description for the back cover. That's a whole nother piece on itself. And how we will approach this in this publish and launch journey is we've got a training, a short video of 15 minutes with a form that we fill you out. And then you've got the group and my feedback to give you feedback on your cover design sketches and all of that. So we really want to nail the cover, nail the different ingredients. It's all there in that respect. Davina says it's like a buffet and everything is laid out in front of you. Yes, thanks, Davina. That's the best. So guys, that's publish, that's launch. I'd love for you to join us. I'm going to lay out how the financials of it work. I've done an epic deal. I really just want you guys to keep moving forward. So I'll explain how that works now. So everything we've spoken about, there's 3 ways that we can do this. Number 1 is upfront. That's 5,995 Australian dollars, including GST. Okay. Number 2 is you can go on a payment plan and it's 1,100 Australian dollars per month for 6 months. Okay. The third way you can do it, and I'll just put this in the comments. $595 up front, 1,100 times 6 on payment plan 1, or, and this is the deal of the century, I can't believe I'm doing this. Davina didn't want me to do it, but I am doing it. $550 a month for 13 months on payment plan number 2. So I wanted to make it super, super accessible so that everyone could say yes. How we're actually going to be doing this is I'm just going to pop a link in to my calendar. If you'd like to have a 15-minute chat with me about your book and about your book project, we can just get all the details sorted. That link is going in now. There's times today, this afternoon, tonight, and tomorrow. And for the first 10 people that book that call, I'll also throw in a one-on-one hour of my time to do a bestseller book launch coaching call with you. So the first 10 to book in a spot on my calendar to discuss their book will get that hour. Zoe says, do we only get to launch once we've paid the full investment? Guys, you need to have 2,000 paid up for us to launch you. Okay. And that's just to cover our costs of, we've got our team, they do the edit, the format, the covers, like there's quite a lot involved in that. So we need to cover our costs on that. So once you've got 2,000 paid up, then you can launch.
I just want to say one thing quickly to the whole group. Everybody, Dave has never done this before, and very likelihood he will never do it for this price again, as in like he won't. So if you want in, it is an incredible offer. I know all the stuff that goes on in the back end because I'm the publishing manager. And literally we handle so much in the back end that you don't even know about. I know it is an incredible offer. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Awesome. So how much are hard copy orders? So thank you for the question. And guys, if you've got any questions, please put them in the comments right now so I can speak to those. So cost per book, it really depends on the size of the book. So the average size book that we do of, 20 to 30 to 40,000 words, you're looking at between $6 and $9 Australian per copy landed. Now, if you're in the US, or you can access Amazon.com, which is actually only for US people, Australians can't access it. Those prices are just a little bit less. Okay. So yeah, that's a really good question. The way the printing works is that it's print on demand. So there's no obligation to order, like 500 books minimum order quantity or 1,000 books. If you want to order 7, order 7. You want to order 27, order 27. Yes. Awesome. Thank you guys. We're seeing heaps of comments come in saying people have booked. So we're going to go. So just as soon as they come through on my internet, on my, what do we call it, on the phone, those people will be the ones eligible for those one-on-ones. How long do we have to decide? Greatly. So obviously you get in, the sooner you get in, the more likely you are to get the one-on-one with me. We're going to keep this offer open until Sunday night, until this container closes, because Sunday afternoon, we're going to start the next one. Okay. And can we delay the start of the publish and launch process for a month or two if we want to refine our books? Yes, that is fine, Lee. There's no obligation to as of Monday start. I think it's more about catching the train. There's a new train starting. It's a new group energy for the publish and launch segment. So if you need to just let it sit for a week or a couple of weeks again, then before you actually start the publishing, that is totally fine. So guys, I highly recommend that you jump on, have a chat with me about it. I really want to make sure this is tailored to your situation, that you're fully aligned with it. I've never done this deal like this. We've never done this level of amount of live training in there. We've never done it with this level of like group support. You say yes, it's done. And you just need to go along for the ride. That's kind of how this rolls. Thank you, Mr. Nasser. He's going, I'm all in. Love it, love it, love it. Along for the ride. Let me see. Do we have any other questions? Yes. So that was a great question. Lee, can we start later? Yes. Guys, the publishing process takes we have a 6-week process. So if you have a deadline where you've got like an event or something and you want to get your book out to the world on that timeline, we can absolutely make that happen. Having said that, you don't necessarily need to follow the 6 weeks strictly to a T. Shirley says, after paying, what is the max time to publishing? That's a good question, Shirley. Look, the majority of the energy of this train will be for the first half of this year. I think that kind of feels, I don't have a set like end point for it, but guys, my thoughts this morning when I was reflecting on what I was going to offer you guys and share with you is that if you're thinking about getting it out to the world this year, and I highly suggest that you do, like, keep the momentum up, is, that's kind of the maximum time frame that I'm seeing, Shirley. So yeah, thank you, Emperor Nas, for the question. He says, I don't even know all the details. It's just trusting the resonance and why I'm here. Thanks. Alexis is booked in. Sophia's on the train. Alexis is on the train. Awesome. Guys, are there any final questions before we round out, or anyone that would like to jump off mute and ask me a question? Going to hang around for a few more minutes. Like I said, I'd love to support you guys in bringing this out to the world and really launching it. And like Lee said, that you can, you could go away from this and soft launch it, or you could join the group that's going to really hold themselves to beaming it out to the world with the fullness of what you've got. Mr. Nas, do you have a question there?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm all in, trusting the journey, and this will probably be like my deepest vulnerable share, which may not be nothing to everyone else, but like for me, it's like huge to share it in the group and that. And I think it's like I just spent the last year, as you know, Dave, surrendering all monies, letting everything completely go to live on the land. And so like I'm really struggling with on the monadic plane, which is a 4th level of how to do money on the personality plane, where I'm like, that's not why we're fucking here ultimately, but I know that's part of the system and all those things. So and like I drive a nice car and blah 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 and all that type of stuff, and that's probably the only thing that's kind of left. And yeah, I'm just completely trusting the mystery, vulnerable in that, like my team and that we're working now on, like, just on that level, it's like that part of me has died for the bigger plan that's unfolding. I know this year is going to be one of my most successful ever, but I cannot approach it from the body mind. That's not what I stand for. Like the reason why we spend $6 billion a day, it's a collective issue that we're all fucking bought into, that, and so I can't approach it the normal way of go out and do marketing and do sales and push myself against the current of why I'm here and so I'm still navigating like how to do that. And I'm not just some spiritual hippie that hasn't made money. I've made millions of dollars. I've made my clients millions of dollars, and so like, and I sold my house and I went and lived in the mountains. So it's kind of like, I know that whatever I'm trusting now is beyond logic, time and money. And I just need to sort of share that, because I think it's vulnerability of like the integrity of the word and the personality is very different to the integrity of the living word from the core of the heart and that monadic plane. So I'm all in for the fucking ride, and I'm just trusting the journey. And I just also need to share that, because sometimes the body mind for the group and collective can get caught up in that, and it kind of like I don't know, it shits me, whatever the right wording is. It's kind of like so I just wanted to share that, which is actually really fucking deep for me. I feel like I've
and I appreciate you sharing that, because I think one thing I want you guys to know is that in the way that we teach and coach and show you and help you to launch your book, is it's not, you know, it's not about just diving into like, you know, 2012 internet marketing tactics. That's not what this is about. Okay. You won't find us, you know, forcing you or like forcing you into a launch or marketing strategy that isn't in alignment. Okay. This whole process from the start has been about alignment. Yeah. And so, you know, the example that comes to mind is these leadership coaches that I mentioned before from Canberra, that in the moment coaching, they didn't have an online network, right? They had in-person network, and they were very good in those networks and face-to-face. So the most aligned way for those people to launch their book was to actually reach out to their, you know, their colleagues and their clients from that space. You know, Lee's just got a really good comment here. Lee says I did no landing pages for my launch because it didn't feel right. And that's the thing, guys, is we present you with, here is the buffet of ways that you can launch your book. What resonates most deeply with you, go and do that. And, you know, just to speak to some of the other things you said, Emperor Nas, my suspicion is that, you know, you said you're still finding that kind of balance between the worlds or the dimensions. I feel like you may well find that in this process of bringing a book to the world. And the other thing that I want to say is that, you know, I've always believed that life supports that which supports life. So does your book support life? Amen, it does, because it's about chi and energy and soul and all these different perspectives. And it's this perspective that the world needs right now. So, you know, this is for you and for anyone else who's maybe thinking about, oh, you know, do I have the cash, et cetera, et cetera. Ask yourself the question, does my book support life? If yes, then this is the path I need to go down. And you know, you might even want to ask yourself the question, has this week been transformational for you? You know, what are the benefits of this week? Money, like Lee said here, money has come to me from many sources, not necessarily from my book. And then Leah Steele says, I want to do all the launch things. This is part of my jam. Totally. So everyone will be different. And like we've honored the unique differences of every single person, we will continue to do so. And, you know, I really see for you, Emperor Nas, is launching this book into the world in a way that is really deeply authentic to you. And that's the commitment. Yeah. So thank you for sharing, my man. Guys, any other questions? Anyone else? Does anyone else have any other questions? Otherwise, I'm just going to put the link to book a time in right now. If anyone hasn't done so, please do so. I would love to start this journey with you from Sunday afternoon. We're going to round out for now. I look forward to seeing you in my calendar. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your group energy. You're awesome. And I look forward to seeing you at the next check-in at 3:30 and indeed helping you on the journey forward to publish and launch. So thanks again, and we'll see you soon.